Boobies!
Hi.
Hello, and welcome
To
Boobies,
Boobies.
your horror spectacular fun.
You are?
Your host, Caitlin,
And I am Joshua.
the other host.
Yes.
We're your bays.
Your boobies.
We're your boos. We're your bays. We're your boobies.
And we're here to talk about a horror film.
A film.
A film. A horror slasher film.
Slasher.
Film. The hash-slinging slasher.
The hash-slinging slasher.
That would have been a better movie.
Okay, so
Sorry.
this we're gonna talk about Hellfest, a 2018. Is it a Netflix film?
No, it was
it's just
actually
on
released
Netflix.
at theater, I think.
Oh.
Like, it was a theatrical release.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it was a 2018 release, horror slasher. And it grossed 18 million.
Why?
Which is not that much. And it is why it did not spawn a sequel or franchise or anything, which was kind of what they were wanting to do.
Oh, yikes.
I looked into it. This project had been in the works since 2011.
Oh my God. Oh yeah, box office 18.2 million.
Yeah. And it was filmed on 5.5 million.
Oh yeah.
So
See that now.
mhm.
It got a 5.5 on IMDb, which seems actually kind of high for that. 40% on Rotten Tomatoes and a 26% on Metacritic.
That seems about right.
Yeah. 76% of Google users like this movie though.
Yeah, I guess it's not that long. It's pretty digestible.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of one of those movies I'd say you'd probably put on if like you didn't want to like think or have too good of a time.
Too good of a time. Okay. This film was. We had a request for it from a listener, which
Yes.
we're so sorry, Kesley. You're the best.
Yeah, you really are.
You listen to everything, and you're amazing. That's why we were like, we have to do this film for you.
And we
But I'm sorry, we didn't like it.
uh,
It's not that we didn't like it.
yeah, there's
But
just
we've got
certain
some
things that we have to say.
I'm shocked that it's a Lionsgate.
Is it?
movie.
I didn't even realize that was the opening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, Lionsgate's typically got some
good
pretty,
movies.
yeah. Like if I see Lions, well, no, I do feel
I don't
better if
think I've
it's a
ever-
Blumhouse production.
Or yeah.
Though most of the time I'm like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
we're in for a decent ride. They
they
do
know
a
what
good
they're
job.
doing at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get what you mean. But yeah, so
Director is Gregory Plotkin.
So a little info on him. Gregory Plotkin
Plotkin.
is he directed it obviously, but he had a lot more previous work. I think this is like his first directorial like movie
By himself.
directing thing by himself. Yeah, but he edited Get Out.
Yep. And Happy Death Day.
Happy Death Day and the Paranormal Activity, not the first one, but like the 2, 3, and I think some other subsequent.
I do
whatever.
hate Paranormal Activity.
Mhm.
I think those are dumb.
I'm not too big of a fan of those, but it just at least goes to show that he has some experience in like the horror genre and like, that kind of stuff and being around that. But I don't know if this movie was necessarily failed by a lack of direction or a lack of like written material, like the material that was written for it.
So we'll blame
Look at the
story
material.
by William Pinnock, Christopher Say, and Steven Susko.
Yeah.
Y'all are the reason this isn't good.
Yeah. Y'all really could have done a lot better, you guys.
Yeah, the storyline itself was... my issue with this, I guess, is that I've seen better versions of this. Like this,
Yeah.
because the plot in itself is beautiful. I mean, to have a
This is one
serial
of like
killer...
my most irrational fears
Yeah.
when I ever go to like a haunted house.
to have a serial killer inside a haunted house, it is the perfect storm.
Yeah.
Because just as we see in the film, when you're getting murdered, people are going to think it's a part of the act.
It's a part of the show.
And
it's
so
the
it's
perfect time
really
to blend
wonderful.
in with all
Yeah.
the other people that are in masks and costumes.
And then
It's
they're all bloody. Like,
usually dark. It's usually like
Yeah.
things are obstructing people's views of things.
There's
a lot
flashes
of
going
places
that are
to hide. Yes.
disorienting you. And I mean, really, the idea is solid.
Well, and because like when I think about it, like I think about like, well, if I was a killer, I would do that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not.
That would be like my
that,
first place.
Really, like that seems like a really good, like a free for all, like really good day for a serial killer.
Yeah.
So I'm like, if I think that, and I know I'm not gonna do that, there's some person out there who I know is thinking this and is actually gonna
do it. Yeah.
And that's. I mean, yeah.
I wonder if there ever have been.
So that's the real fear of like
house.
when I'm in the haunted house, because I'm like, most of the time I'm like, okay, I know all this is pretty fake, but then I'm like, which one of you motherfuckers is actually the real one?
Yeah. Yeah, like whenever any of them walk into a room and it's filled with just multiple people and then the one moves. Yeah. That is scary. I mean,
that's the good part. I mean, that's what you go for.
Yeah.
I mean, just like everybody in this movie keeps saying, oh, you came here to get scared, you know?
Yeah. Which you did.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah.
But that, and like you said, that adds to the perfect storm and the combination of like literally someone could get away with so much, which someone does.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And I'm just, well, I guess if it's like a traveling one and he's been to the other ones, I'm just like, how did he get the exact mask to blend in?
And it's the way that I think they had planned a prequel and a sequel, so maybe they were thinking on like going into that, but like maybe he somehow was associated with the park, somehow worked there, or because that to me is the only, like, how would he know and how would he have access to that?
Yeah, because he did have a pretty decent understanding of the
layout, right? That's what I was thinking the whole time. I was like, this person has had to work here or do something because he knows like everywhere to go and like would be in the background scenes a lot of the times. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Sorry, I looked up if there was, oh my goodness. I was trying to look up if there were haunted house murders.
And there's so many, aren't there?
Well, this one says spook house clowns attack mom and teen with sex toys. I'm so confused.
Oh no!
Robert Keller, 23, and another male identified only as John Doe reportedly taunted customers at the Massacre Haunted House attraction in the Chicago suburb of Montgomery.
I'm going to Chicago next week. Oh no!
Oh, you're gonna get salacious sex talk, and by pressing vibrating sex toys against their bodies. Both
vibrating sex toys?
Yes, I guess it's just like a little vibrator. Yeah. Both men were dressed as bloody clowns. Police arrested Keller for disorderly contact and aggravated battery. The incident prompted a lawsuit from a local woman who alleged that Keller and Doe harassed her and pressed a vibrating sex toy against the buttocks of her 17-year-old daughter. Oh, no. Yeah, that's really bad.
That is underage. That is not cool.
Trauma. Registered sex offender caught working at the dwelling of despair. So lots of...
That 17-year-old is never gonna be okay again. Like,
what the fuck is this?
With
these titles are what?
Like vibrators.
Yeah, these titles are what's getting me. Bisexual groper among the ghouls at Wisconsin scare house.
Why is everybody being molested in haunted houses?
Bisexual groper.
God, we thought people were like getting murdered, but no, it's just the creeps.
Actors clobbered by crutch fiend at Canadian
that's
Halloween maze.
Go Canada.
Clown canned over assault claims to Omaha's mystery. Okay, yeah. So I guess there was no actual murders in one.
Wow.
Interesting. How
you heard
weird.
It here first, folks.
Anyways,
so
Hellfest. We're talking about this film today,
and the premise is basically like a bunch of teenagers go to haunted house, not haunted house, like a Six Flags. Like, you do that freaky whatever shit.
Oh yeah.
What's it called?
Like,
Fright Fest. Yeah. And
Hellfest. Oh my God.
Makes sense.
Yeah, right? I was like, what is this?
Well, and actually,
Halloween rave?
I looked it up. They filmed it at the Six Flags in Atlanta.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
So part of it, anyways. But yeah, it gives that very vibe, but also too like the way that this. I don't understand how this would ever happen. It was like almost EDM concert, as opposed to like a Fright Fest.
Yeah, exactly. They had that DJ up on that weird platform. It really kind of gave me Scooby Doo and the
Monsters and.
The Spooky Island.
The first one. Yeah.
It gave me those vibes.
Yeah.
Especially on the little train car scene. Like when they were taking the ride to go to Deadland.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I get that. I remember that part. Do you remember when Fred was like, biatch?
Yeah.
I remember being like,
I love when he switched bodies with Daphne too.
Yeah.
And he's like checking out the boobs. That's funny.
Yeah. That actually, Scooby-Doo, the live action first one was it was a pretty decent movie.
That's quality cinema.
Yeah.
I love that
Scrappy
film.
Doo being the bad guy in the end.
Yeah.
Like,
he deserved it. Most people hate Scrappy.
Yeah. There's a whole thing about that. I didn't even realize. Mm-hmm. But I guess because he's kind of like a little dick, right? He's a little asshole. Yeah,
he is a little asshole. He's
the little people's complex. The short, what is it? Yeah. Yes. When you're not tall and you feel mad at the world about it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Mm-hmm. Anyways, the movie opens with apparently we are at Orange Fair Orange Fair Community Horror Night or something like that. Or Orange County Community Fair Horror Night. I don't know. But you're getting like overlapping screams. It's kind of putting you right into you're getting right into it.
Yeah. It really drops right in because you're at this Hellfest what it is.
Yeah.
That
another horror
of it.
Theme night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, because from my understanding, it's the same one, but it's traveling and they change the theme, right? So like, that's what it is. That's what I understood.
I guess so. Yeah.
Okay.
I think I didn't know if it was just a
similar
like kind of thing,
a different one.
Because I think if it had happened and it was the same traveling one, they would have had to shut it down.
Right. Okay. So
yeah. So I think it was just a very similar idea that this guy's just traveling to go kill some people.
Different ones. And so it starts out there, and we have the what is it, that girl?
Yeah, we cut to some cheesy haunted house decorations, and we're following 3 girls through a house,
which
basically.
Kind of is very foreshadowing.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. 3 girls. And then one of them keeps noticing that someone is following her and had been following her all night, is what she said. That he was basically stalking her, and this is not the first time she's seen him.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, if you go through a haunted house, sometimes
people do follow you the whole time.
Yeah.
I've had for a good while at least.
Yes. But they don't follow you from house to house to house to house or other things like that. Because I've had many times one character kind of stick with our group the entire way through the house, but then we go to one of the other houses and he's never there.
It's a whole different experience.
Yeah.
He's busy doing it to other people now. Yeah.
So if someone was following me through all of these houses, I'd be like,
creepy. That'd be sus.
Hard pass. Yeah. That would put me on edge. So
especially after watching this movie.
Yeah, exactly. But our one girl, I guess the main girl we're seeing get killed here. She's not. We don't even know her name.
We don't get really that much information.
Yeah. Then she's separated.
Yeah.
And
from the other 2 girls.
Then we get him humming this "Pop Goes the Weasel," which was like kind of his thing.
I think it's associated with with the little girl at the end, right? Okay. Anyways, yeah.
Yeah, he does hum it when he sees her too, which I'm like,
maybe it's like her favorite song or something. Yeah, it's like a lullaby that he sings to her.
I just imagine "Pop Goes the Weasel," gut the weasel on
it's
Pop.
It's a little sinister. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, any nursery rhyme when hummed in a horror film is gonna be fucking creepy,
right?
That's the whole.
You got me there.
The whole premise of nursery rhymes is to be fucking creepy. Ooh. The backstory behind most nursery rhymes are dark as fuck. I mean, same with that's literally why Grimm's fairy tales and stuff exist. Like the backstory behind everything, and Ring Around the Rosie is,
or even like their little their Disney movies that like Little Mermaid. Like that's not a happy story.
Oh no, it's not. No. Yeah. But dark shit.
So anyways, and so he ends up stabbing her
right in the tummy,
as she's like, and then really literally. He lifts her up with the knife, doesn't he?
Yeah, Michael shit.
Yeah, very much so. And then strings her up like she's getting hanged, presumably noosed, and then she's just hanging there. And then she does look like she's just a part of the display, like a prop.
I thought he had killed all those other people
and was hanging them all there.
I was like, oh, all the hanging people are real. I see. That's what I put.
Yeah.
And then later on, it says that it was only one girl, and I was like, oh.
But that would have been imagine him making his own room.
Little room filled with, How did they not find her body for
He
left her up there
and they said it was 3 days until they realized that.
Probably because they did think she was a prop.
She was just a part of it. They said she started to stink.
Yeah. Yikes.
That's so bad.
Ew. Anyways, after that, it flashes to Hellfest on the screen.
Hellfest.
The whole time the credits were kind of rolling. Yeah. It was doing a good job. And then the intro, Hellfest. Yeah. And then, of course, it...
I do enjoy sometimes when... Depending on the movie, I mean, obviously I didn't enjoy this movie all the way, but I like when credits go on at the beginning of a movie.
Oh, yeah.
It's cool.
I do too.
Like, I enjoy it.
I feel like it sets...
Stylistic.
Yeah. I need to know. Mm-hmm. Not that I read them, but...
No, but I just...
If I wanted to, I'd like to know they're there.
Maybe, I don't know why, for some reason, I don't know what movie I watched this a long time ago, I guess, maybe when I was younger. I associate it with just like, it seems a little bit, like I said, stylistic, more artistic. Like to kind of incorporate them through the movie somehow. Mm-hmm. Like it's just creative.
Yeah, it
Instead of just like all the way at the end, it's just like
yeah.
But,
flat screen.
Yeah.
But so of course after Hellfest flashes, we get a nice bright sunny shot.
Yeah.
And we get our main character Natalie hopping out of a Uber or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. She's being dropped off
at this house,
and it pans in on her face, looking like very wistful, very hopeful. I don't know. Her face just looks...
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
And as
Hunky
she's
dory.
looking at the house...
Yeah.
And then she goes and walks up. We've got a nice old Bastille Halloween decorations. I liked it. I have that same cat.
Oh, you do?
Cut out, yeah.
Yeah.
Loved it. There's it Bastille, I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways, we then meet our three main characters, or three women characters.
Yeah. Taylor, Brooke, and Nat.
Yep. Nat's our main character. Brooke is her best friend.
Yeah, from I guess they went to high school together.
Yeah.
It's their hometown, and so Brooke went to college. Whatever, is staying here with Taylor in that house.
Yeah,
they're roommates.
Taylor is obnoxious.
Yeah,
refers to Natalie as grade school, which I don't really understand. I guess maybe because it's Brooke's like.
Grade school friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, I think
elementary friend.
They've been friends for
life.
Yeah.
But yeah, her character is very obnoxious and just kind of almost a little mean and rude.
Yes. And very rude.
Yeah. And like
if I knew someone people like that totally exist.
Yeah.
B, if I knew someone like that, no. I would be like, shut the fuck down. Like, I'm going to need you to shut up right now. And then I would say, I'm not hanging out with this bitch.
Yeah.
Fuck that. Because fuck annoying. Her. She was so fucking mean.
Yeah, she wasn't being that nice. And then also, too, just like the her obnoxious, like.
I also totally thought she was a lesbian. When she started making out with Quinn, I was like. Well, and then I sit here and get mad when people automatically assume. Asher? Oh, yeah, with Asher.
Yeah.
I get mad whenever everyone's like, your hair's short. You're like lesbian. Just straight lesbian. And I'm like,
I mean, honestly,
you can't assume my sexuality.
You really can't, honestly, nowadays, and you shouldn't. You shouldn't ever, because, whatever. People can be whatever they want to be and look however they want to look, and it could be contradicting to stereotypes or not. But
and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being a lesbian.
There's not.
I am pan.
This bitch looked like a lesbian.
She was, yes.
And presented herself in such a manner that I was like, oh, okay.
She's about to get to U-Haul. They about to go to get
like her and all the things she was talking about. I was like, oh, okay. But you know what? Neither here nor there.
Yeah.
Shout out to Taylor.
I mean, hey, maybe she's
because honestly, every movie needs that kind of annoying-ish character.
Yeah, the one that you want to die first.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The one you're reading.
And who knows? Maybe she's bi. Maybe she's pan like me.
She could be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so.
But it's the chick from. Did you ever watch the Scream TV series?
No.
No. Okay. It's.
She's in that.
Yeah.
Well, now I don't want to watch that.
She, they, them, who. Yeah. Whoever they are, she's in that. I forget her name, but it's like one of those 3-word actress names.
Bex Taylor Klaus.
Yeah, there you go.
Bex. That's a name?
Yeah.
Wow.
That one.
Well, Brooke is played by Rain Edwards. They've got some. And then Gavin's played by Robbie Attal, but then it's Roby. Only one B.
Oh, interesting.
And yeah, it is odd.
Now. Yeah, they do have some.
Amy Forsyth is Natalie.
Yeah, their names are a little bit not like just,
standard.
Emily Gregory Plotkin. The way his name Plot. Okay. Anyways, yeah. So back to the movie. We're meeting all these characters. She's meeting them. Essentially, we're all meeting each other.
We keep hearing this name of Gavin being dropped as maybe a potential love interest for Natalie. And Brooke is not. And Taylor quite literally said something like she wants to sit on the D.
She wants to ride that D. Ride that D. Like that. Yeah.
And so it's just like, okay. I mean, you can tell they're being very.
It's like very hammer on the nail. Like there's not much for like
brash.
Innuendo, brash. Yeah, it's a little brash.
there's no innuendos. They're just straight up saying it as it is. But then enters Quinn.
Yep, the boyfriend.
The boyfriend of Brooke. Yes, and
he's cute.
Yes,
I thought he was really handsome.
He had a strong jawline.
He's a beautiful face and nice shoulders.
I really didn't see the appeal of Gavin too much. I was like,
my thoughts exactly either. I was like, he's not cute. I literally wrote it down. I was like, he's not that cute. I will literally, Quinn's boyfriend is cute. Gavin is not cute. But yeah, we have Quinn coming in. He's like trying to, we gotta go meet Gavin. But it's the way that Brooke and like Natalie or what she needs like 10 more minutes or something like that.
Yeah, and he says I'll see you in 30.
Yeah, and so they then meet up at the Hellfest.
Yeah, so we basically flash to there, and then we see Gavin and Asher, who turns out to be Taylor's boyfriend.
Yeah, which I was like, oh, that's a throw.
Yeah,
okay.
Wasn't expecting that.
But
they
it's
were
the
all
way that
out.
he was able to match her energy the exact same way.
Yes, they were perfect together.
Yeah. They were so
I would
obnoxious.
have hated both of them.
Yeah.
And then they're entering and stuff, and it's really just like a free for all. There's characters just walking around. Like you said, it is very much like Fright Fest or something.
Yeah, like they get in there and there's literally characters, monsters. They're speaking to people. Everybody's kind of, like you said, running. That's all.
It's just like a giant
it's chaos.
Carnival.
It's really chaotic.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, and then her, all the friends, everybody but Natalie is kind of like in the first place. They all didn't think she was gonna go. For one, they're like, oh, we're shocked you came, all this stuff, and so they're all like, we're down to get scared as fuck. Like they just want to get, they're what right immediately they start planning like, okay, what rooms are we gonna start going to? What areas are we gonna go to? Yeah, so
and that's how we find out that you have to go through the Deadlands and stuff
to get to something to get to the Deadlands.
Well, you have to go through the Deadlands to get to the Hell Maze.
Oh, that's right.
It's the only way that you can get to it. Oh, and yeah, so right before that, Gavin and Nat are being awkward. I was like, I put that
the whole time throughout the whole movie.
Yeah, and then the killer just fucking waltzes right in.
Yeah,
like
walks right in, and it's the way that so at the beginning of the film you knew it was the killer because they panned down to his boots, and he's got this like steel toe boot with like a little rip on it, and so when he's walking through the security measures of like, what is that, metal detector?
Yeah, metal detector.
Yeah, it pans down to the boot because they're like scanning him again because obviously the boot's a steel toe boot.
Off, yeah.
Yes, and you realize then, oh, that's the killer from the beginning because they're only showing you the back of him. And
yes,
he has
you
no
never
mask on at that point.
Yeah, he doesn't.
Yeah, right.
He had it in his pocket. Yeah. And then so whenever he got in, he puts the mask on and he puts his hood up. And yeah, you never actually see his face.
It's about to get wild up in here.
Unless he has the mask on. But yeah, so he walks right in. I don't know.
Yep. Yeah. I'm like, that's the killer. I literally, with that.
The mask was actually pretty interesting.
I wasn't mad at the mask. I thought it made it look pretty spooky, pretty creepy.
I liked it.
Yeah, it's different.
It reminded me.
It was original.
Of a certain kind of doll I feel like I've seen before.
The mask was created by the same dude who did stuff for Chucky and for another movie, and he also created the mask for the people of Daft Punk.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I found that out.
A mask maker.
Researching. But yeah, so it was a pretty good mask. I liked it as well. But yeah, we have.
I was wondering how he was going to get a knife in there. Because I was like, man, did he fool the metal detector?
He literally just...
He just steals a fucking knife
from
off
a hot dog cart.
Hot dog cart, yep.
Or something cart,
I was like, that can't be like a super great knife for stabbing people.
It looked serrated too.
Yeah,
and
it did.
With like 2 little points at the end, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It wasn't a very big knife.
It wasn't. Mm-mm.
I was like, is this going to work? I mean, it could be flimsy.
And it's the way that we find out there are other ways that he decides to kill these people. Because we'll get to that. Because there's some things that I'm just like, why? Like, what? Okay, but anyways, we have basically just showing them going through all the park, whatever. Gavin's telling Natalie, like, if you just don't act so scared and keep it chill, like they're not going to scare you. But then he gets scared immediately. He gets scared,
yeah. And then he's like, I have a very specific phobia of demon clowns.
Yeah. And then
which is like same. Yeah, who doesn't?
Right? And then it's just more of them like...
Says the person who collects clowns.
You do.
And dolls.
But we did just read that clown story from Chicago.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're it's just showing them going through the park basically, and I'm trying to remember. I just know that I put right here, the script is not that great. Yeah. They're just dialogue. It's basically a lot of dialogue with them really just talking to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so then they basically get up to...
when are people going to die?
Yeah. It is kind of taking a long time to get to it. And they get to the house, and I have a note here saying Taylor annoys the fuck out of me. But they're going in, and the girls and the guys get separated somehow. Yeah. And that's when we get to see the first girl who kind of had a run-in with the masked guy earlier.
At the beginning, right before the hot dog cart, or they were walking past the hot dog cart, the killer was overhearing this girl saying like, "Oh, I'm not scared like of any of this kind of shit." So that makes me think that also too, I think we realized throughout the movie, he has like a type of person that he goes after.
Yeah.
One, looks wise, and I think also maybe it has to tie in too with like people who are like, I'm not. Like they're trying to be like, I'm not impressed by any of this.
It all seems like they're people who are putting up their defense mechanism is like tearing it down.
Yeah. Like this is lame.
Mocking
that's
people.
Not scary, or you're not cool.
Being like, ooh, real scary. Like kind of thing. Those kind of people. The moment he hears that, he's like, you about to die, bitch.
That would literally be me.
Yeah, me too.
Oh Lord.
Most of the time I'm like, or I'll just laugh.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then there are other times where I'm like, oh, no, fuck that. And I'm like running. So.
And so we have it. They get separated, and we see that girl from the beginning, and she's running past the other girls.
Yeah, she's trying to hide.
And
it's the way Natalie sells her out.
Yeah, because they think like it's a part of the experience. So the killer comes in, and they're like, "Oh, your prey is right there, bro." It's like right
because
where the
he's kind of getting in Natalie's face.
Yeah,
he's kind of getting up and like. I don't know, almost like posting up.
Sizing her up, I guess. Yeah. And then she's like, there she is. And poor bitch is like just there hiding, like in fetal position. And he just yanks her. And then like, it's the way that what the girls who wanted to go and get frightened, Brooke and Taylor, they're like, oh no, this is too real. And they walk out.
Okay, that's enough.
They're like, it's too intense. And she stays.
And then Natalie, she basically says, okay, well, get on with it.
Yeah, she literally says, do it already. Just do it.
So she literally like tells this man to kill
and he just stabs her.
Yep.
And then it's the way that she's watching, and I think she's like having this moment of like, she can't like, she's like, is this real? Is this not? Like, is this real? Is this not? Like
sitting there thinking, this looks a little
very
too
real.
And then once she gets out, we see that other person getting stabbed, and then they're like, and then they're like,
it makes her think like, oh, like this is just what happens here.
Well, to me, it made it feel like that was how she really started questioning, because the other person
there was a lot of blood,
got up and was like carried on, and this girl was unconscious and
bloodied up. And
stuff.
Yeah.
So I think I don't know. That's what that gave me, but. Yep. I put, wow, she straight up watched that girl get murdered.
She really did. She not only watched it, she told him to do it.
Yeah.
She's an accessory to murder.
She's an accomplice. Yeah.
At this point.
Arrest her.
Literally, what if they arrested her inside of the thing? Or like, we have video of you telling him to do it.
Yeah. Be like, you're in on this. Now, that would have kind of been a fun twist if she had got all of her friends to come there to kill them.
That would have been the best part. Yeah. Honestly, see, there was a lot of moments where I was thinking things were like, why wouldn't they, like, this is such a failed, like, moment. Like, we could, so, like, the way that they kept saying, like, at the beginning, like, oh, we're surprised you came, like, you know, whatever, which never really fleshed it out. It kind of just made you more or less think, like, well, this girl is just like a homebody or something, or like, or just is not antisocial, basically. But they could have fleshed that out to something like she was in a previous experience, or tied it into like she was at the other festival like that 3 years ago, something, and was like it was her friend, or she was like 7 but she would have been younger, like
I really 15. Did think it was going to be one of the girls from that original 3.
Oh yeah,
I thought she was going to be that,
like, or witness somehow, and then this was more like it could have been like her, like, you know, giving it more gravity to the situation.
There's another
film.
Yes, and it's a collection of films. There's multiples that has very much the same kind of idea that goes through it, and it's pretty good. We'll have to talk about that one eventually, but I think maybe we should save that franchise for Halloween.
Ooh, okay, that makes sense. Yeah,
it's in haunted house
go to
prime
actual
season.
Haunted house. Ooh,
yeah, fun.
Yay.
Let's go.
All right, let's do that. Okay, yeah, and so she ran out. She's telling the gang like, hey, I don't know if that was like real or like that was really like intense. That was crazy. And then they look back and the guy's like behind them,
standing there, just like, watching.
That's him, and they're like, that's just a part of like the gig. Like he's gonna try to do that to you. They follow you sometimes.
Not out like that. That's weird.
Yeah,
I don't know. But then they basically get to a kind of carnival like area.
Yeah, where they start playing the games.
Yeah, and Gavin fucking sucks at any and all carnival games, apparently.
He really does. But also I love carnival games, but I'm not that great at carnival games.
Not that great at them either, but I think maybe if I spent $50
at like 15, like at $20, I would have been like, oh, I'm good, I'm done.
Yeah. I'll go get you some at Walmart.
Yeah.
What is that game that
ring toss a ring?
Yeah.
Ring toss
onto the it was bones, but typically it's like soda.
Yeah, those like Coke bottles.
Yeah. He said he spent $50, and I was like, boy, and you didn't get anything?
Not even like a small prize.
Ring toss, isn't the easiest thing, but it's not that hard.
Do you only have to get one, or do you have to get like?
I think you have to get multiple.
Right.
I don't know. I don't play a lot of ring toss.
I don't either.
We should.
I go to like the fair for like the food.
Yeah, funnel cakes, which they talk about. They're like
funnel cakes are so
funnel
good,
cakes.
Or like the big corn dogs. Oh my gosh, they're so good.
They got fried Twinkies, fried
leg,
cheesecake.
honestly, I don't even
fried
eat
everything
meat like that, but a turkey leg from the fair is actually good. Okay, now I'm just getting hungry. And so, anyways, they have playing the carnival games. He sucks at them.
He buys her a nice pretzel.
He buys her the pretzel,
and then she fucking throws half it away.
Yeah,
what the hell?
I love pretzels. I would not have.
I know. He was, and then he even says, he was like, "That was a perfectly good pretzel."
Yeah,
which I was just, how could you throw a pretzel away?
I went to the mall the other day
and
just to pick something up,
Anne's?
and I literally got 2. I got the pepperoni one and the sugar cinnamon one, and I ate both of those hoes.
Those Auntie Anne's, like, they hit different.
It's like
so fucking good,
like crispy on the outside, but so soft on the inside. It's perfect.
I'm not a fan of like regular crunchy pretzels. I will not eat those. Not that
I like all kinds of pretzels, to be honest.
But I discriminate. But soft pretzels, I will fuck with that. Any like the pretzel dough, like soft pretzels and like a pretzel dog. I would eat that.
Or with some cheese, the cheese sauce or some ranch.
I am a fan. Okay, let's stop talking about food. As you guys can
tell, we're hungry. And so, he buys her the thing. They're talking. They're doing more of that little awkward flirting and talking and walking kind of situation. And then they go to the photo booth. Yeah. They go to the photo booth and they start taking pictures in there, and it's more awkward flirting and talking, and then we're just like, just kiss already, and then they finally do.
And how many photos does this thing take?
That's true, because I'm like,
typically there's only 4,
and this took like
at
20.
least 6. At least 6 flashes happen, and so I'm just like, you get to pick and choose your best ones, but they didn't. It printed them because they were still making out.
And so the little pictures printed out, and
they print outside.
Yeah, and
of the
side of the booth, and so the friends are in a little group to the side, but Brooke's kind of watching because she notices that the dude that was following her is about to takes the pictures from the booth, and so Brooke is like, "Hey, mother effer,
what the fuck?"
Yeah, for sure. Like she is like, "Can you not?" And so she ends up telling them like he took the pictures, and so then she goes chasing after him, and I'm like, "Oh, like okay." I feel that, but like, why is nobody going with her?
Yeah, that's why I was like, how is she? Why the hell did they let her go off alone to stop him?
And also, yeah.
And then I thought she was gonna die there.
I was literally thinking I was like, this is it. She was the first one to go.
I was hoping
it was gonna be Taylor, but
yeah, I put LOL Brooke gonna try and stop him, and she gonna die.
Yeah.
And then nope. She doesn't. That scene was pretty unsettling. I mean, because I was kind of waiting for it.
It makes you think that it's about to happen, but it doesn't happen. And then I guess it just kind of plays into the because even then that kind of sets in like something for her where she's like, oh, that was just like really, that was unnecessary. And maybe this guy is a really.
Yeah, because she kind of avoids the conversation afterwards. Yeah. She's just like, I took care of it.
Yeah.
And doesn't really say anything about what actually happened, the way that she felt uncomfortable.
And maybe she thinks like, because if she actually shows like genuine like fear or like confirming whatever Natalie's suspicions are, like it would then ruin the night or like then like
they'd have to accept reality that maybe something's actually
happening
going on
as opposed
here.
To like, oh, this is a part of the Hellfest.
Yeah, exactly. And we get a good little jump scare with Quinn as she turns around. I mean, because I was really fully expecting hers to get stabbed in the stomach when she turned, and well, didn't. So I mean, I don't mind a good fake out. That's fine.
It was good. It was a good fake out because it really had me fooled. And so then we have them getting ready to go. They want to go on that ride that's going to take them to the Deadlands.
Yeah.
And so
they're trying to get to the main. The big kahuna.
Hell
main event.
House. And so it's the way that Gavin then is just like, y'all go ahead, because he then whispers into Quinn's ear that he wants to win he wants to go buy basically a teddy bear or something for Natalie because he couldn't win her one.
Because he sucked.
Yeah. And so Natalie really wants to go with him, but he's like, no, you go with them. Like, it's okay. And she's kind of like, this is weird. Oh, but okay. And so she goes with them, and then he goes back, and
they split up. So Gavin's finna die. He's about to die.
And so they see, and he, poor boy. And
the
so
fucking ring toss
he was really
guy.
just trying to do actually kind of something genuinely nice and cute.
Yeah, he was.
And so he goes to talk to that ring toss guy, and he's like, hey, I mean, I literally spent $50 here. Can you just like help me out and give me one? And he's like, no, I'll lose my job. I'm like, I really doubt it's that serious, bro.
Yeah, exactly. It's one fucking carnival game.
And after he spent $50, like, and so Gavin is like, it's the way that Gavin also doesn't really put up any kind of like, he's just like, okay, thanks. And so he walks away, and then he hears those carnival people, the workers talking about how there's plenty of extra stuffed animals, like in
he
the
sees
basement
them
or something, in the locker room.
Taking out bunches of stuffed animals, carrying them out from their sort of break room. And so he goes, oh, well, I'm gonna go steal one. So he goes in there, and he's going to get himself a stuffed animal for free.
Yeah, he's stealing. Gavin is stealing, and so he automatically gets punished.
He sure does.
And so it's the way that he doesn't hear the dude walk in at all.
I'm assuming he's got pretty quiet feet, because he seems to come in, even though he's in steel-toed boots. I don't know.
I guess he is a murderer, so he is trying to be stealthy.
Yeah, a little bit.
And so it's one of those whenever he has the locker open, he then, or whatever it is, he closes it, and then dude, his homeboy is right there.
Yeah, and so as Gavin gets in there and stuff, he's kind of messing around, and he tries to pick up this like mallet thing for one of those strength tests where you slam it down, and he like couldn't lift it up at all. And then so once he closes the locker door, he picked himself out a weird, creepy stuffed animal. The killer, the other, I think is what he's called.
The other, yeah.
The other is there And this motherfucker just lifts up that mallet with one hand.
Yeah,
and then the guy's like, oh, okay, like, good for you. And I put, oh, he's strong.
He is.
Like, damn. And then, the way he smacks his head with that thing. And I imagine it just like, because it kind of choked him.
So basically,
I think something like,
it's like getting punched in the throat, but with the end of a mallet.
I feel like it broke something in, and I think
his Adam's apple or something.
Yeah, he was kind of suffocating
choking on his own blood.
Yeah,
yeah.
Like I feel like something in his spinal area.
Yeah, like, that makes sense.
Because imagine if you get your head, because he like kind of bunted him in the face.
Yeah,
and I imagine if you like put your head back fast enough, like something could have.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. He seemed like he was like there's some.
He's already in for anyways, but yeah, it's pretty torturous. And so he does that. He gets him like down, and it's the way that poor Gavin. I mean, he kind of
just lays his head right on it.
Perfectly sets his head up on the little. Yeah, right. He's just like, let me just adjust a little bit more. Let me get this easy for you.
This is comfortable. Okay, now my head's right on the little
doohickey, whatever the game,
perfect for the mallet.
Yes, and so then he literally smashes his head in, and these are practical effects.
My favorite thing. It looked. I mean,
it was very real.
It was. Yeah, I was like,
if you watched it in slower motion, like pause the frame. Yeah, it was very real looking.
Yeah. I did not do that because I didn't want to see that.
I know,
but it did.
I mean, it was a very immediately.
It was a very brief. It doesn't show much, but yeah, if you were to slow it down, I'm sure it did look really real. The flash that it was looked real, and I was like, nope, that's enough for me. Thank you.
Great practical effect.
I just put, goddamn.
Yeah, because it could have been CGI, but it just made it.
They did a good job. Yeah.
And so then we have Gavin's dead, and it's at that point I was like, out of all of them, I didn't really expect Gavin to be the first one to die.
Yeah,
I'd say that.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that either. And so then they're sitting there waiting in the line. They've already signed their waiver because, as we found out, in the Deadlands, people can touch you, and so that's the only way you can get to the Hellfest. And so you have to sign a waiver, obviously, because if people are touching you, it's a little bit more stakes, or
there's the liability. Maybe you could get hurt or something, and so they don't want to be responsible for that.
Yeah, exactly.
Liable.
And so they're waiting and texting him,
Gavin,
and then so he uses his phone to respond and be like, I'm gonna
the way he just picks up his finger and like has it to unlock his phone.
There was one time when I was I was traveling with friends, and we got so drunk and I had like passed out, but I was like the DJ, so everything, my Spotify was hooked up, and so whenever they wanted to change a song, because I was just passed out on the table, they would just take my thumb
and put it on the phone,
so that way.
That is hilarious.
That way they could change the song.
I love that story.
Then it was so sweet. They were like, Kaylin, is this okay if we do this? And then
like,
I was later found passed out on a toilet, like just pants down. I just fell asleep. I disappeared at one point, and
that's never happened to me.
What a good night.
I've found a couple friends like that before. That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was my boss who found me, so that's fun.
Ooh, I've been passed out before though. Like, yeah.
Anyways.
And now, a word from our sponsors.
But yeah, so basically they're there, and he's used now his thumb to text back. And so they think, okay, well, he'll just meet us, blah, blah, blah. It's fine. And then they have to get on the ride.
At that point, Natalie was really like, I want to wait for him. And they're like, you know what? He's actually getting you a stuffed teddy bear, so just come anyways and whatever. And she's like, oh, okay, that is kind of sweet. And so they get on the ride. Poor Natalie has to get on it by herself, which I'm like, I would never want to get on one of these by myself.
I know. One of the guys should have gone by himself, and then like.
Yeah, the girl should have. Yeah, and her.
Yeah, Brooke should have went with her.
Yeah, exactly. Quinn should have offered to go by himself, but no. So it's the way that
they wanted to make out.
Yeah. So throughout the whole ride, the other two couples are like literally just like locking lips the whole time and getting scared sometimes from like a spider popping out, which was like, okay.
It was a bunch of cheesy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. It felt very kitschy. That's why it reminded me of like Scooby-Doo. Then, so, okay, I thought there was going to be some sort of connection here at the first haunted house, like with the opening. Before the girl got like murdered, there was like a mummy-esque looking figure that was just kind of standing there. And please don't stab your head. That was just kind of standing there and it was illuminated. And then as she was rounding the corner right before the ride breaks down, it looked like another mummy.
Sarcophagus.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Kind of figure there as well. And so I was like, oh, another mummy person. And then it was nothing.
Yeah, they never associated the two together.
It's not often that you see mummies like, I don't know, in haunted houses.
It's not like a really...
I mean,
really
it's a typical like Halloween costume. But it's not something like there's not a lot of haunted houses I've ever been in where a mummy's
it's like people with chainsaws and scary guys and like
clowns.
Goblins and monsters.
Yeah, exactly. Or little
witches.
Girls with long black hair and a white dress.
Yeah. Samaras.
Yep. All the things you're supposed to be scared of.
Or zombies.
Yeah.
Zombies.
Zombies.
And so, it pretends to break down.
Yeah.
The ride does. Right at this point, we don't know that it's doing that, but we think like, oh man, this motherfucker like triggered something and this ride is breaking down. And then we see the figure of him standing like from afar, and so she's like, hello, and he's not responding. And then he's moving closer each time. Which, God, can you imagine like being stuck on that ride and not being able to get out? Like that scary.
Would suck.
And then we have the voice of Candyman, Tony Todd, being like, the ride will resume momentarily as we try to fix it. Please don't lose your head.
Yeah.
And so then we have her screaming, and then and it's the way I'm thinking, like, the other gang should have been like right in front of her. Why is it like that they're not like, until they come out and they're like, wait, did you hear that? And then they're like,
because
Brooke and Quinn.
Well,
Asher and Taylor come out first.
Yeah, they were already kind of out before the ride shut down. Yeah. I think it was right towards the end. And then so Brooke and Quinn, though, they were still on the ride. Yeah. And they were like, no, that really sounded like her. Like something seemed wrong.
She wasn't just scared. She was scared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they were also trapped in the ride, so they can't get out.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, but then he just rides out with her.
Yeah, they come out and he's literally just sitting on top of the ride.
Yeah,
and I thought she might have been dead. I was like, oh, did we kill her already off screen? Like, what's happening?
Yeah, because her head is kind of faced away. Yeah. Because she doesn't want to sit there and look at him. Yeah, because he's just sitting like perched. Scared. Doop, 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 on the ride with her.
And that's when we learned that there are a bunch of other people that have this fucking mask, and it's actually the other, which is like the theme parks, this like their costume, what's it called? Mascot. And so
I was like, wait, why are there so many? I was so confused. I
thought, there's all these murderers in on it.
Yeah.
No. Okay.
I was like, oh, they're like, it's a planned thing.
Right. And no, he's just taking advantage of this being a mask that everybody else is wearing, so he can kind of go in and out,
blend in. Yeah, exactly.
And so, pinch poke. And so then that's the way that the friends, I love how Asher is already just like they pick the person who's by themselves and shut down the ride, and they just scare you. I'm like, the way you're explaining this away, like nothing, like, okay, cool, whatever.
That didn't seem believable to me. I was like, I don't know.
It's like, this is exactly what happens. I'm like, you know nothing. You do not work here. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. But so they get in, and so now we have to remember they are in a place where people can touch them.
Yeah.
And they're sitting there trying to find like a map or something when Taylor literally like gets lifted up and taken away. They straight up steal her.
They literally do. And I'm like, I imagine like touching was one thing, but like, and even Brooke says it, or Natalie says, she's like, touching is one thing, but like taking you a run from your friend group, like that's not cool.
Yeah, that's too much. And it was. Then we get these potato sack covered head children. They were pretty creepy.
After they found Taylor.
Yeah.
Because Taylor was like, oh, he smelled like shit.
Yeah, it smelled like a hobo's butthole, is what she said.
And then these little children come
Quinn's
out.
Mom.
And they extend their hands out and basically essentially to grab them, and they want to lead them. And they're all just like, okay, yeah, we'll follow you. And I'm just like, no, but okay. I mean, I get it because it's a theme park, but like, no.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so they end up taking them.
Why do you have to hold their hands?
Yeah, I don't get that.
That's odd. I'd be like, I don't want to touch you.
They end up taking them to the entrance of like this 3-way maze situation.
3 different houses you can choose. One was like sleep like a baby, something, and then the other was your worst nightmare. And so the girls go into the sleep like a baby one or whatever.
Yeah.
The men go into your worst nightmare. And at this point, it's only Asher and Quinn going in. And they give them flashlights in that one, which I was like, interesting.
Sense. But then the flashlights like work and don't work at certain areas. And I'm just like, how did they control that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Or is it just the flashlight and they all have like bad batteries?
Yeah, they've just been used so much now that they legitimately did die.
And it adds to, they're like, nah, we don't fix it. It adds to the aesthetic.
Yeah, I've never been in a haunted house where they give you a flashlight.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, and also just like for like warning to people who have like photosensitivity, like there's a lot of strobe lights in this movie and flashing lights.
I was honestly a little bit surprised that there wasn't
like a
some
warning
sort
or
of
disclaimer.
warning.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this whole movie is strobe lights. Like all of it. There's so many flashing lights. And because that's what it is, like in a horror or a haunted house.
And so we have them going through it. The girls are going through their own side. We know that the killer has already entered this area because he's kind of like in the background of it, right?
Yeah, you see him enter the door
because he, for some reason, knows like every back way entrance to all these things, and like
I think he goes through the front door of the Sleep Tight one.
This one?
Oh, I think he just follows them and then he goes right into it. The doctor dude, like. That the girls encounter whenever they're sitting there, and then his like you hear something flatline because it's like some sort of baby operations things. And when his head pops up and he starts chasing them, I was like, oh fuck, that's actually pretty fucking scary.
Really scary.
I was like, I'd be running. And then they get to this area that has like this foggy top that kind of makes you feel like you're in water. I've been in a haunted house that that utilized that effect. Yeah. Except for it wasn't above us. You were like mid
walking in it.
Yeah. So it was like in your
so you couldn't see anything below the fog.
It was pretty scary. Yeah. I was like,
that would be more frightening to me.
Yeah.
As opposed to like, and then getting your
something up there. Yeah. Because then it really did. The way the effect made it looked like you were walking through like some sort of boggy water.
It was cool. Yeah, I thought too. I was like, oh, that's
really
area
cool. That I was in that part was like a swamp, and so there was like real creepy stuff, like creatures of the Black Lagoon and stuff. Cool. It was cool, and I really enjoyed that house that utilized that. So it was cool to see that.
Okay.
Anyways. There's one it's a traveling house too that I went into that had 3 houses, but it wasn't as intense with the outer stuff. Yeah. But the 3 houses were really good. That was the one where I went in and the third room was fucking wheelchairs and I was like, I'm fucking out.
Oh no.
No.
Yeah.
Because I think I mentioned on here I have a weird fear of just empty wheelchairs.
Yeah.
Because
something's wrong with it.
Something,
how did it get here?
How did it get there?
How did it get here? How to will that here?
Something that shouldn't be walking has gotten out of it. And so that means it's probably crawling, which I don't fucking like crawling things either. True. And so when I see an empty wheelchair, I'm like, no, fuck this.
Sus.
And then everyone, as we were going to that, we're like, Caitlin, that's such a dumb fear. Like, no.
That makes sense, though.
And then literally the third room we went into in the first house had wheelchairs like plastered to the ceilings.
Girl,
everyone.
They called them and told them.
They did.
She's afraid of wheelchairs, guys. Get a room full of wheelchairs.
They all looked back at me immediately and were like, oh shit. And I was like, no, get me out.
Told you. I told y'all.
I was like, see, other people must be afraid of this too if they made a whole fucking room based off of it.
You are not alone.
Thank goodness. I think that room, whatever was supposed to be in it, had already chased someone out. So when we went in, it was just kind of like, okay.
Yeah.
And then
it was empty.
Yes.
But the chairs were still creeping you out.
And
so we have, what is it? Asher and Quinn get separated.
Well, the girls get separated first.
They all do, yeah.
Yeah, basically everyone gets separated. And the one that Natalie gets into, it's saying something like upturn every bone to illuminate the way.
Unturned.
Yeah. To illuminate the way out. And I was like, what is this, a fucking escape room too?
That's what I was thinking too.
Like, oh, which no.
I'm like,
that would be actually scary.
Yeah, because
like a haunted house escape room where you're having to get yeah, fuck that.
I mean, I like being scared just as much as the next person, but that's too much. My heart would not take it.
Exactly. Yeah. And so then there's some sort of weird like plexiglass see-through there, and as she's looking for things, she sees him, and then the way he just like starts banging on the glass, just so constant. He doesn't waver at all. That was unsettling. Yeah. That part kind of was like, oh, okay, that's pretty creepy. But yes, Asher and Quinn had been separated now. They had a fucking huge train coming for him. That was pretty scary too.
That was pretty fucking wild.
Yeah, I was like, oh shit. And they get separated because I don't know. I think it kind of forces Quinn. It
forces them because they're running away, and Asher is ahead, and he goes into one door, and then like whenever
there's like
he
a
goes
trap
through
door.
it
switches.
It switches, and then Quinn goes through the other one because he thinks he's following. Just the same thing that kind of happens to Natalie and the other two girls.
And so then like they get out, and they're kind of like, "Where's Asher?"
And then everybody's out but Asher. Yeah.
Flashes back to Asher, and we see him get
brutally murdered because at the beginning it kind of was a foreshadowing. He tried to pick up one of the like it looked like a shot, what are those things,
a
syringe. Yeah, because at the park they have like alcohol in some of the syringes, and so he tried to pick one up, remember, and then that girl spooked him. And then we have the killer now grabbed us and also too there's so many points in this film with like the axe later on, this syringe with that one big old hammer. That's not a problem. Like, why are there like deadly forces?
Yeah,
deadly
they should have been props because and then at another point in time,
the girls try to grab them.
Remember? Yeah, and they're like, all of these are fake.
But yet not the axe that he pulled.
Yes.
Like it's And so anyways.
Some things just don't make a lot of sense.
And so
but then he doesn't even use the syringe. He stabs him with a knife through his eyeball.
I thought it was the syringe that he put through his eyeball.
I think it was the knife.
Oh. I'll have to look at it again.
I don't know.
I thought it was the syringe.
Whatever it was pretty fucking cheesy. Through his eye.
And then, like, you just see his eye and all the blood and the practical effect of it.
They do, like, zoom. You get to see the whole knife or whatever it is enter his eyeball. Yeah. And you see him.
Yeah.
I
liked it.
It was pretty, I thought it was cheesy.
If you think it's cheesy, you think it's cheesy.
Yeah, I thought it was cheesy.
I mean, it is kind of cheesy, but I just like the practical effect of it all.
Yeah. There was some part that just looked not realistic to me. I think it was probably the blood. The way it looked. I was like, okay. Anyways, the rest of them get out though. Yeah. Asher's dead. He's in a pile of bodies now, so they're following. I'm sure anyone else who goes through is like, that's a real. That's just part of it. It's a prop.
Yeah. Because there are other bodies laying on the floor.
Yeah. Yeah. He was literally in a pile of bodies. But they get out. They go to the bathroom. Brooke and Natalie talking about going to Spain because they're besties, they're trying to rekindle their
friendship. And then Brooke ends up like drying.
Oh yeah, because she got like squirted by some.
Apparently, it's something they do there.
Yeah, which I would be fucking pissed if a thing like
on my clothes.
Yeah,
no, that's not
spat goo
but
onto me.
I guess that's what they like signed off in their waiver.
Fuck that. You can. Like,
and so she's trying to clean herself off. She's in the restroom, and it's the way Brooke leaves, and I was like, why would you leave her after all this shit that's been happening? And she's really freaked out. And
I just want to know why the hell the dryer was up that high.
Why is the hand dryer so fucking high? And this like it's the weirdest position.
Yeah, over a mirror.
Over a mirror, and I'm like, no, I don't understand why it would be there.
An ounce of sense.
None whatsoever.
It wouldn't have been there.
Just like for her to be blow drying her hair for the plot line of the story for
which
him to
is
come
like
in.
That's fine. I've had to blow dry my hair under a blow dryer before. But you bend over.
Yeah.
And how is she that not spatially like aware? I just don't understand people who are spatially unaware.
You feel the displacement of like,
Well, also, I mean, her head wasn't so turned to the side like
yeah.
You would notice her eyes weren't completely like squeezed shut. Like her eyes were still kind of open. She should have seen him. He literally gets like this close to her fucking head. He about touches her. And she has no clue. He about
touches her. Yeah, I love it. That. He about touches her.
I just don't understand it.
Yeah, that's how I felt too.
I'm too paranoid
it's also
always.
Like he has superpowers like Boogeyman, because then he's 1 minute he's there, not even 1 minute, 1 second he's there, and then the next second he's gone.
Flash.
Yeah.
Gone. He's gone somewhere, and then now she's going to the bathroom because, I guess she wanted to get herself cleaned up first, and then she was going to pee. And as she's peeing, as we all do, she was sending a text message.
Yep.
And
to Gavin,
the way she sends it, and then his phone chimes immediately. And at this point, I was like, how is he still getting into the phone? Did he chop Gavin's thumb off and he's just keeping it in his pocket?
I guess if he did it and opened up that one time and then went to the settings quickly and put do not lock.
Yeah,
maybe. But
I guess
even then, I think it still asks for your 4-digit code. I don't know, but it was also. Yeah, I don't know. It's a scary movie. And so,
I don't imagine he chopped his thumb off and was keeping it in his little pocket.
He's literally, and then he's still in there with her, and she hears the phone go off, and then it's the way that
she at first she's like, and then she sends another text.
Yeah.
And it goes off again, and then his boots appear under the door.
The stall, and she's freaking out at this point. And then he sends this text. He's like, "I'm getting closer," or something like that, right?
Oh yeah, I couldn't read.
It's it says "I'm close now" or something like that.
Oh, okay, and so that's why she smiled.
Yeah,
okay.
And so then, homeboy is there. He starts shaking or beating on the door, and she's freaking out. So she
tries to call the cops,
but it doesn't work.
Yeah, no service.
So then which makes no sense to me, because I'm like, then how are your text messages getting out? But yeah,
exactly.
Okay. Anyways, and so she crawls underneath the stall.
Can't think too hard.
And then gets out. And then
she's still in the stall.
Oh, that's right. No, yeah.
And then it pans in. It's like you're almost looking from the bottom corner of the stall. You're seeing. It's a very underneath her kind of angle. Yeah. And so I was like, oh fuck, this motherfucker about to come. Reach his hand over the stall,
and he does that,
and he does exactly that. But also, how did he get into the other stall? It was locked.
You can't think too hard.
He climbed under it while she was climbing under the other one.
You can't think too hard.
Yeah. I don't
Literally, know. Yeah, that's what I see happening. And so, anyways,
make sense,
she does end up getting out, right?
Mm-hmm. She gets out. Yeah. And then so she goes and gets a security guard, and the security guard's being high-key a dickhole. He's just like, look, they're not supposed to be in the bathrooms, but you just described at least 15 of the workers here.
So I can't do anything, and if you're not physically harmed, then there's no charges I can press. So there's nothing that we can do.
And I was like, he did grab her hair,
and he's like, you came here to get scared, didn't you?
And it's like, no, fuck you, dude. If I'm telling you something that's going wrong,
And then they find the pictures.
Yeah.
That she had taken earlier. And then I love how she's like, this is Gavin. He's like, wait, who's Gavin? And
your friend Gavin's pranking you.
Yeah.
You didn't give me all of the information.
Yeah. And so they are then not going really far with this dude, and that's whenever they end up we go back out, and
they go out, they
where's
find
Asher,
that
right?
They're like, we haven't seen Asher, and then we find out that Taylor has volunteered.
Yeah, that's right.
For something, and so we're not sure what, but then it gets up to the stage. We get
Oh, yeah. We get our cameo from Mr. Tony Todd, Candyman. He is the voice that you've been hearing throughout the movie, which you just kind of think at this point, oh, he lent his voice for the Overcom, whatever. Mm-hmm. But no, he actually pops up on stage. He's like a voodoo magic Dr. Facilier type of character, and he is gonna do a performance art piece, I guess.
Yeah, saying that
piece.
Yeah. You, in order to enter the gates of hell, they have to have a virgin sacrifice, and then so out pops Taylor.
Of course,
she's saying about the virgin thing.
She's so obnoxious, because then he's like, "What are your sins?" She's like, "I've committed many crimes. Yes. I am so bad. I am so unique and evil, and I am so dark." Help Satan. I'm just like, you're trying really hard.
Yeah, she is. And I feel like, I don't know, I would have picked someone who didn't want to be up there and was scared.
Yeah.
Not her. Because, she kind of ruined the mood.
Right. Yeah, she's having too much fun with it.
Yeah. And I was just like, okay,
almost mocking it. And so then they basically take her to a guillotine, and they're going to chop her head off. Yeah.
I put, oh, yikes, her head is actually
And at this point, because Miss Natalie sees that on stage, the person who's handling the guillotine, when she looks down at his boots, it's the fucking dude with the same boots, and he's just wearing a different fucking mask.
Yeah, costume. He has like a little I mean, because
the executioner costume on.
Yeah. It's a super easy costume. Yeah. It's just a hood and a black robe.
And so, yeah, she's freaking out. She's running to the stage, but the security stops her. And so all that's happening.
That slow-mo run as Natalie was running for her was pretty good. Yeah. I did like that. Yeah. I mean, I was like, oh, shit, man, her head actually is going to fall off. And then...
Yeah, I thought it was about to happen. And then, no, it's a fucking fake head. But also, I'm just like, are the people just watching her just like, ooh, please fake head?
I think it looked like the board slid because whenever he moves her up later to put her head back through it, I think it kind of like goes.
Oh, I get what you mean.
Like it pulls it back right at the last second,
and then a little head just gets thrown out.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it.
But still, that could be wrong. And
that head was so fake.
Yes, it was, and I was intrigued. I guess they had to find someone who had a similar hairstyle.
Yeah.
Or do they just have like a bunch of wigs they can throw on these heads?
I was like, I guess they just like picked someone, who had the same hairstyle. I was thinking that too. I was like, because it looked like her. I mean, you could obviously tell it was a fake head, but like the hairstyle
was the same. Yeah.
Like what?
And so it doesn't make any sense.
And so then like it had to have been premeditated. And so anyways, the security team is too busy handling whatever's happening with Nat and Brooke because they're freaking out. So nobody is really helping. Nobody notices that the executioner is back there because the one security dude runs off and he's like, hey, can you get her out?
You can get her out, right?
And he just like nods. And so then she's gonna talk to him like, oh, that was so cool, okay, can you get me out? But then he doesn't. And he just like literally tightens her in there, and it's
she's
pretty
like, this is
it's pretty rough with her.
Yeah.
And then he tries to cut her head off
but
with the guillotine. It's dull. It's dull. And so that's when you realize I'm at that point thinking like this mofo is really about to just like drop it until
that's what I thought he was gonna do.
Yeah. Because she does come back too after she has this really nasty cut on the back of her neck.
Yeah, she's got a decent sized little gash on the back of her neck, and I guess it was enough to render her unconscious. The thud of it, anyways, and. Yeah, but
so she is able to get herself off, and it's the way I'm like, how did he not notice? Is he deaf or blind?
Because he was trying
to the lever, yeah, but I mean, she's essentially still right there in front of him, and he's looking.
They're all spatially unaware.
It's true.
Yeah, they have no clue what's happening around them.
And so she gets away and she runs out and she's like screaming like, he's trying to kill me, I
was like, oh good, she escaped.
But at this point, homeboy gives no fucks. He's just walking out and he's like, you know what,
I'm gonna kill you here.
And kills her in front of all the people because of course everybody's thinking like, oh, that's his fake, this is part of the show. And then kills Quinn because Quinn is like, what the fuck.
It was like a double kill, tap right back to back. He like stabs her and then he turns around, stabs Quinn.
And then at this point everybody's like, oh shit, this is a little too real. And so
they start realizing, okay, something's wrong.
And then it's the way I would not want to be that security guard that was dealing with them from the beginning, because I'm like, what an idiot that you had to explain that these girls were telling you that someone was doing something in the park and you were not
and
shutting
now
shit
4
down.
people are dead rather than just 2 if you would have just believed them from the get. And so then now it is a panic. People are chaos. Running, screaming. There's this announcement over the intercom saying, due to like some unforeseen events, yes, the park will have to close early. So basically like trying to get everyone out. And then of course, we know that there's multiples of these men walking around, and so we see security tackle and take down one of them.
Like, oh yay, but you need to pan down to the shoes.
And they're like some red
Nike
sneaky
snakes.
Yeah, just
maroon.
Not our steel-toed boot. And so it's like, oh, wrong guy. Yeah. I did like the little slow-mo walk through the fog towards them too. It was like,
oh yeah.
I was like, okay. And then these fucking idiots run into one of the houses. Why would you do that?
The way that Brooke is like, this is an exit.
It literally says,
welcome to hell.
Yeah. The entrance.
So the place that you were trying to go to the whole time.
You get in and you hear, welcome to the gates of hell, like blah, blah, blah. You are at the entrance. Yeah.
What part of that is exit?
None.
It's so stupid.
Literally none.
It's stupid. And the way that they're running in the opposite direction that everyone else is running in. I'm just like, oh God.
Yeah, they run to the emptiest part. I would have ran to the very full parts where multiple people are.
Yeah.
I would not have separated myself.
It was
and
stupid.
Of course, they had to run that way, though, so that way we could get this
ultimate last chase scene.
Yes, of them in hell and stuff. And I don't know.
Oh, that makes sense. Hell fast, hell.
Yeah. They had to get to the hell room, the hell maze.
Yeah. And so anyways, they get in there, they're running through it. And
this is where he gets an axe, real axe.
Yeah, that's in there off of one of the props or one of the guys. And I'm just like, how is that real? But anyways, he ends up closing the door behind them, and he smashes the lock. So they're all locked in there. And the girls are running through.
Only way to get out is to go all the way through.
Yeah, and so the girls are running through, and it's whenever Natalie then at a certain point realizes there's these little green lasers that are tripping off everything when they walk into the rooms.
Each room's getting triggered that way.
She's got an idea. She's like, please, Brooke, follow me. And Brooke's like, no, we got to get out. And so she gets Brooke to join her to backtrack, jump over these and not trigger them, and then they hide in a closet.
And I would have just hid there the entire fucking time.
Same idea that I had. I'm like, why?
The moment he walked past him, it's like,
he didn't check it.
Yeah, he didn't. He didn't hesitate. So it's like, okay, great. He thinks you're still going.
Yeah.
I would have stayed.
Literally.
Would have stayed put and at least took my chances with knowing that he was out there.
Where he's at.
Yeah.
Yes.
Instead of running through a maze and not knowing at what turn he could pop up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because at that point, I literally would just sat there and waited for the authorities, waited for someone to come in there that wasn't the killer.
Yeah.
Because at that point,
turn all the lights on.
Yeah.
Because there
and also too, so we'll get to that in a bit. Yeah, so it's the way that they do. Stupid, they come out right when
after
he
he passes.
And it's not even waiting. He had to have been 10 feet ahead.
Yeah,
and she's like, okay, safe, close is clear.
Maybe he cleared the next room, and that was it.
Yeah.
And they're going back. They get back to the beginning, and they realize,
and then stupid Brooke is screaming
yes,
and I'm just like, girl, shut up.
Natalie's like, shut up, hush. And then they're like, the only way we can get out is to go all the way through. We have to go all the way through. And I was like, fuck going through that maze.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. And they get back to where they were hiding, and they see that the door is closed now.
Yeah.
And they said, we left it open. We left that door open. And it's like, why would you have done that too?
So stupid.
Just close it, because now he knows for sure that y'all are somewhere behind him.
Yeah.
And I don't know. But then
so they end up going through the next room, which has all these mannequin-esque looking
doll room. I did like the doll room. I thought that was cool. And there's a little recording going, don't look at their faces, mommy. Don't look at their faces, mommy. Yeah. And it's like, I liked that. I was like, yeah, that is pretty. If I was in a haunted house and I went into that room, I'd be like, yeah, I think the fuck not.
That's scary.
Hard pass.
And so they are in there, and it's the way that we finally get a flash of where we see him in there.
Yeah, because of fucking course he's in there.
Yeah, that's because obviously he was behind them. And so they end up going to the next room, and it's basically a room with a bunch of other
floating faces. I mean, they look like kind of floating faces. Yeah. It's a bunch of completely black
hooded, robed, cloaked mannequins with a white mask on.
Yeah, and that was pretty fucking creepy too. If I was in that room going through an actual haunted house and I walked into that, I'd be like, nope.
Natalie's such a good friend though that because we find out he tries to walk through that room, but then he's like, nah, they're in here. And so then Natalie has the mask on, and you can see she has it because it shows her eyes, and she's crying at this point a little bit.
All the rest of them have just it's just black behind
eyes,
there. Yeah.
And so then he tries to stab one, but it's he picked the wrong one, and she ends up coming out, and then
she goes fucking ham on him.
Yeah, hitting him with the thing.
It was like a mannequin arm. She had a mannequin arm and was just smacking him with it.
But I loved how Brooke was just hiding on the floor behind her. I was like, oh, what a good friend. She was just hide under my little robe.
Yeah.
And so then, because at that point, was Brooke already? It happens now, doesn't it?
Yes. So, yes.
He ends up getting the hammer and slashing Brooke.
No, that happened in the doll room.
Okay, yeah, that's right.
With the axe, he cuts Brooke's leg open, and so that's why I think she also was hiding her so she could sit down.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then he knocks Natalie out, or he at least hits her in the face, and Brooke is running. She told Brooke to go ahead.
Yeah.
And so Brooke's running.
So he knocks Natalie out, but it's the way that he's like, I'm going to save you for last. So then he goes after Brooke. And he ends up getting close to Brooke after, just a little bit of a chase scene, but it's the way that it's flashing through like all these other little clips of the side walls, whatever they are, the monsters, little scares that pop out.
Yeah. And at this point, it gives you an option. The house does. It says like choose your path to hell or whatever. And so depending on which way you go, it splits them up. And so Brooke went one way
left,
and Natalie went the other.
Right.
And so then, like, of course they've been separated. And then
you hear Brooke just screaming like, Natalie, help me, help, because she's getting chased by him. And then finally we have this really cool, I thought it was really cool.
He trips one of the things and it opens a trap door, and conveniently, Natalie's right behind it. I was like, with like a knife in hand or whatever. And I was just like, how did she know that one was going to open up to him?
I don't know. Movies.
Yeah.
And anyway, she stabs him.
She does.
And so does she double tap? No, you guys. She doesn't, because they never do. And
because she's dumb.
Yep. And so she ends up running further away with Brooke, trying to get away from him. And that's whenever finally the lights turn on, like, which should have been turned on. A little bit.
They didn't even come like fully illuminated.
The lights should have been turned on a long time ago.
Yeah. And the cops have come in, and I put the cops are here, but he's going to be gone. And then sure enough, they're going through, and I was like, okay, yep, he's missing. And they come back and they tell the girls, they're like, we've looked everywhere, but we can't find him. And they're like, what do you mean you can't find him?
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. And then it pans to him walking home.
Pulling up into like a suburban little house.
And you're hearing the news coverage of the murders that have happened there. And they're saying that like kind of the suspect's still at large.
Yeah.
They can't find him. And he's like, he's just, as a lot of serial killers do.
Goes into his garage, puts his little mask up with all the other masks that he's collected.
Not that part, but sorry, no, I was gonna say a lot of the serial killers do keep up to tabs and keep up with the news. And so, but yes, I mean, maybe some other serial killers have masks, but yes, he does go in and he has all those little masks. It's like a little shrine.
Yeah. His hard work, and then he goes into his house and he has a little girl.
Yeah, I was like, he's a suburban dad who kills people. Yeah,
how and that's fun. The way the little girl just woke up and she's like, Daddy, and you're home.
Because he goes in there too, and he's like humming the Pop Goes the Weasel song again. And I'm just like, are you about to kill your daughter?
That's what I kind of thought.
Because that's
like,
what you hummed every other time you're about to kill someone. And so I'm just like, what? I don't know. It didn't make much sense.
I think that's just like a song he likes, or like sings to her, maybe.
Is he just,
he's obviously not right in the head.
Yeah, he's murdering people. So
but yeah, and then we get a title card, Hellfest, and then it's over.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna go straight into my boo. It is a 1.5.
Yeah,
to be honest.
Yeah,
1.5.
Why is that?
It just, I was ready for it to be over. It wasn't too great. The script wasn't too good to me. It just felt like it was had a lot of failed opportunities, and the only reason, if I was to say that I kind of like certain things about it, was for me, I did like the practical effects of like the deaths. Other than that, there's and that was literally 2 scenes. Yeah, Gavin's and Asher's.
Exactly.
So yeah,
no one else had really. Yeah, they just got stabbed in the stomach.
So
which is like that also doesn't automatically kill people.
Yeah,
getting stabbed in the stomach.
I wish I could say more good things about it. That's all I have to say about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it a 1.
Oh.
Yeah. I was ready, like you said, ready for it to be over, and I was just kind of like, okay, this is. Yeah. I don't know. Wasn't my favorite. And I do think it's because I've seen better versions of kind of the same thing.
And I think we'll have to cover another one just so like we can give people like, okay, watch this one. Because now this is kind of same storyline, but better.
Because again, it is a good storyline. It just needed a better rendition.
Ooh. So shout out to Kesley, my bad.
I did ask for her like commentary on it, and she said she would give it a 4.5 out of 5. And she said she's obsessed. It still makes her uneasy every time she sees it, every single time she sees it. And she said her boyfriend says that the acting is bad, but it did make him uncomfortable.
Okay.
Or maybe the acting made him uncomfortable.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, because it did.
Because it was so bad.
Yeah, it was so bad. It really was. So to each their own, some people really like them.
And like you said, this is all subjective. Like my opinion could be different from your opinion. Sometimes our opinions are different about movies.
We've had some pretty different.
Yeah, and
I just decent sized gap before.
But you know,
this one just wasn't for me.
For me, yeah, you know that, and it's really cool though because it does like you're not gonna see every movie that we watch. We don't have to love.
Yeah,
and it is good to I think also watch like the movies that I guess we don't necessarily love because it's just like gives us another one kind of like it's kind of like that you can't enjoy the good without the bad.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
And then also, I mean, why would we have a boo rating scale that goes from 1 to 5 or 0 to 5?
Yeah, if everything was just getting 4s.
Yeah, 4s and 5s. Yeah, so we gotta watch. We gotta watch ones that we're not the most fond of every now and then. So that's 2018's Hellfest. You got a 1.5
and a 1
and a 1
and a 4.5
and a 4.5. So I guess it makes it a
you can do the math on
2.5 or maybe just a 2. I don't know. Anyways, as always, we're in the lovely Rogue Media Network studios. They take great care of us.
They do.
And they make us sound real nice.
Thank you.
Thank you. If you want to listen to us or any of the wonderful podcasts on Rogue Media Network, you can find us on your biggest, wherever you listen to podcasts, the 2 biggest ones being
Apple Podcasts
and
Spoofy.
That's right. And then you can also find us all at our little homepage of...
That's right. At... on Instagram.
RogueMediaNetwork.com.
You know what? I need to make a script because I always fuck this up. At RogueMediaNetwork.com.
That's right. And then if you are listening, wherever you are, don't forget to
rate, review, and subscribe.
That's right, because it is the only way we can get ahead. Word of mouth, tell your friends, watch the movies with us. It's a good time. Yeah. We did watch this one, like we said, I think it was on Netflix today.
On Netflix.
Yeah. So it's not Netflix original, but it is on there. And then you can interact with us and let us know your thoughts, comments, and everything, your boo ratings on these films on Instagram at
Boobays Podcast.
That's right.
And that's BOOBAES, Boobays, because we're not just boo babes.
That's right. All one word. And yeah, if you want to let us know how you thought of Hellfest, if you have another opinion and want to fight for a higher rating.
Let's fight. Ooh, I want to fight. Let's argue.
Just convince me as to why it needs to be higher than a 1 or a 1.5. Don't. All right. On that note, Josh is going to electrocute himself, and we're going to... Bye, bays.
Bye, bays.
This has been a Rogue Media podcast.